Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Matt Bamonte. This is Wyatt Darby, not Joe Lissette. That's interesting. You changed figures a little bit?
It seems like a bit of an upgrade. I don't know. Well,
You guys are my favorite. So anyways, we're getting ready to jump into our finals here. And let's take a look at what our top 8 looked like and kind of take you on the journey through the top 8 here. We had Kyle Gunn versus Jacob Dyer playing that Simic ramp deck, and Jacob won that one. You and Joe did that match, I believe. And then Josh Satterfield in the bottom half of that bracket against Dylan. And Dylan, with the mono red aggro deck, he's been doing pretty well against these inverter decks all day. He won against Josh in a close one. He had like 5 1-drops in the game I saw, the game 3. So pretty solid beatdowns. On the other half of the bracket, Cody Murray with his Dimir inverter deck beat Bill Caminos' Soul Tide Delirium deck. And then Mark Johnson with that Boros Feather deck against Alex Williams. And the Feather deck won there, so our Delirium decks got hosed pretty hard in the quarterfinals, which brought us to our semifinals. And Jacob Dyer, we watched that one happen too. The Simic ramp was dispatched by Mono Red Aggro. So Mono Red Aggro, Dylan's going to be in the finals here against Cody Murray, who we just watched beat Mark Johnson's unfortunate mulligan down, I believe, to 5 in game number 3. So we're going to have Mono Red Aggro versus Dimir Inverter, which is quickly becoming like an old reliable matchup in Pioneer at this point.
yeah, it makes a lot of sense. You know, Red is a deck that's really risen up to fight Lotus Breach, and you know it's not great against Inverter, but it's got some game. And you know, critically, you want to make sure you have as many creatures as possible. These repeated damage sources are going to be a big deal for Cody to take some games, or Dylan to take some games. Excuse me. And it looks like Dylan on the play and.
Yeah.
Kind of getting bricked by Thassa's Oracle.
Yeah, so he's going to stick this Thassa's Oracle down. It's just, you know, decent-sized blocker, and he's going to tell Cody you got to waste some burn spells on this thing if you want to get off the field.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. There are a lot of variations in these blue-black inverter lists, and I think Dylan... I gotta get backwards again. I think Cody actually has some cards that are pretty, pretty nice here. One in particular that I like to highlight is actually Censor. You wouldn't think that card is going to be very good against a red aggro deck, but when the red beatdown deck is relying very heavily on high impact, kind of expensive cards, you know, stuff like Goblin Rabblemaster, sometimes Torbrin, Censor is just gangbusters against those.
Yeah. All right, so Akari Zev is an interesting one against these inverter decks. I mean, I'm wondering what Cody's plan is to get rid of that one right away. Does he have Fatal Push hanging out? He's got, I mean, Dylan's off to a pretty good start, all things considered here.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool position for our inverter player to be in because there is an Inverter of Truth in hand. So really, the Thassa's Oracle kind of wants to go to the graveyard so Inverter can put it back. So, and it's interesting. Dylan is kind of like wanting to walk a tightrope to actually avoid killing the 1/3 and give himself some more time to combo.
All right, so Cody going to fire off an Opt here at the end step. And we'll get those life totals. Looks like we're all squared away now. So we're at 17 to 20. And Cody finds a Jace. That one's pretty good.
Yeah, that'll certainly do a reasonable job. You know, it's very difficult for Red to deal 5 damage to kill Jace in response to a plus. And yeah, that's all Cody needs for the go sign. And going down to 3 cards is actually a perfect amount to be able to still combo with Jace.
Yeah, so the Inverter of Truth going to invert the deck, and Cody is down to 3 cards left, and Dylan's going to cut the 3-card deck. And we'll see what Dylan's got left in the tank here. Just 3 lands? Oh, no.
But a castle, though. I think you're underestimating that castle in Breath. I don't think it can do 15 damage, but it's 4 with carries. I actually do like that synergy quite a bit.
Oh, yeah, it is cool. Yeah, he's got 2 lands now left in hands. He's played one here on a Goblin Rabblemaster, and I feel like this inverter deck's gonna get there next turn, unless something really, really crazy happens, and I don't know what that could be at this point.
Yeah, and this game's just kind of all really been about Cody being able to cast that inverter on turn 4. You know, he didn't do too much before that point in time, but just the 6/6 blocked so well, you almost always combo the turn after you play it, and now all Cody has to do is just make sure not to take 17 this turn.
Yeah, and looks like he's lined up blocks in an appropriate way against just a Castle Embereth available, and Cody's going to untap, and I think he's about to win the game here, partner. Next, there's Jace. All right. All right, so Cody just goes turn 4 Inverter. He goes turn 2 Oracle, turn 4 Inverter, which is not the way they're usually cast, and then a turn 5 Jace to seal it up. So Cody's going to pick up a game really quickly in against the mono red aggro deck. And we watched both these guys play against this matchup before, so they're very well seasoned, and big time for Cody to pick up a game there early.
Yeah, I think it really helps if you're Cody, just knowing what you're playing. You know, there are situations where you might keep, Thoughtseize, Thought Erasure, no removal spells.
Yeah.
And, the fact that you don't have to do that against red, and the fact that your 7 also just has 2 of the most important cards in it, set him up really nicely that game.
Yeah, all right. So I'm going to take a peek at Dylan's sideboard here, which we've been over several times today. He's got 3 Scab Clan Berserkers, 3 Damping Spheres, 2 Chandra's Defeats, 2 Fry, 2 Mizzy Mortars, and 3 Karizev's Expertise. I mean, the expertises are obviously worth their weight in gold in this matchup. Other than that, it's not great. The Berserkers are pretty decent, but
yeah, it seems like the Berserkers are a bit of a kind of straight up upgrade to the Anax in this matchup.
Yeah.
You want to apply the pressure a little bit earlier. Anax is it's just kind of a more resilient card than a gold fishing type card. And yeah, I think the 6 3-drops seem like kind of the extent of what Dylan can have to upgrade his deck. And from Cody's side, a little bit more various sideboard. We see 3 copies of Packrat to go with 1 Kalitas, 1 Narset, a Negate and Languish hanging out as one-ofs as well. We also have 2 Damping Sphere, 2 Doomblade, 2 Mystical Dispute, and 2 Legion's End.
Yeah, it's got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of spot removal spells. The Doomblade, Legion's End, both pretty premium. Narset, in particular, good against Dylan's list. No 4 damage removal spells means that Kalitas is never going to be 1-for-1 killed unless there's maybe like a Soulscar Mage or something we saw earlier. And, in terms of what you cut, typically you just, get rid of all of your Thoughtseize, Mystical Dispute, and a Jace or 2, and lining up the numbers, looks like Cody has just enough cards to make that happen. Yeah,
his sideboard looks really clean for this matchup. Joe and I did against the Boros Feather deck, which is fairly similar to the way this mono red deck plays out, the way it attacks with the creatures that are a little bit lower to the ground. Obviously, Dylan's deck's a little bit lower to the ground, but, I mean, Cody's sideboard is really well prepared for it.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I do think that it's a matchup that is a little bit inverter favored to very much inverter favored, depending on how the lists go. But, Dylan is prepared. I think Karizev's Expertise is it's a weird card. It doesn't do anything until it wins you some games you couldn't possibly win otherwise. Yeah. So yeah, that's a weird kind of classic card. I think it's a really nice find. I think Greg Kowalski was the one who had that effect in the European PT. So yeah, great catch there. And I do like Dylan's build. Going lower to the ground gives you some faster goldfishes and kind of maximizes your ability to actually have that threat in the game.
Okay. Well, I'm excited here to see kind of what it looks like post-board. The one that kind of sticks out is like Embercleave. Is that a card you want, you think, too? I don't know. I know there's like 2 of them in here. It can win you games. Is it good enough to do? I don't know. That one's tough for me.
Yeah, it's a tough one to balance. Just talking about how Inverter is going to approach the game, their game plan is going to be to pick you apart with 1-for-1 removal spells. Yep. So you would think that Embercleave isn't very good. That being said, I think you just want the maximum damage output possible.
Okay.
And while this card has some risk, I think that is one of the realistic ways to actually beat a hand that has an inverter in it.
Okay.
And from its opening. And, with 10 1-drops, you can just kind of outpace a removal. You can just kind of play 3 creatures on turn 2, and 1 Grasp of Darkness or 1 Doomblade isn't going to kind of turn off Embercleave with some abilities.
All right, cool. Well, I'm excited to watch this one play out again. We've watched a lot of Inverter, obviously, today. It's one of the more popular decks in the room. There's just so much back and forth that goes on, and there's so much like counterplay. It's a pretty difficult deck to play optimally, and you get paid off though. And so obviously Cody's in the finals here and up a game, so you get paid off for small lines, and it's got a lot of sweet ways to win the game.
Yeah, it's definitely a deck that has some opportunities to get some free wins, but there's lots of complicated inverter sub-games where you're playing it without a combo kill or doing double inverter library swaps.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how much I'll enjoy it 6 months from now, but at least in the present moment, I'm kind of really digging these inverter minigames.
I'm with you. All right, so it looks like they're ready for game number 2, and Dylan's going to lead off on a Soulscar Mage. And Cody has Choked Estuary, revealing an island.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly if this is how the kids say it, but it's a bit of a chonky hand from Dylan.
Yeah.
Multiple copies of Torbrin, at least I think I see 2. And, no creature coming down on the second turn is really ways off from ideal. Scab Clan Berserker will come down next turn, but this is just the kind of draw that is susceptible to being picked apart by 1-for-1 removal.
Yeah, and Cody has a Fatal Push in hand as well as this Inverter, and now he has Oracle too. I mean, he's got all the tools to win the game. And there is, man, he's got Legion's End too. Come on. Send this Lightning Strike at Cody, and Cody's, yeah, that's cool, man. Go to 16. I think that's a big part of these games too, is you just want to like let those first early hits in and get some of the payoff cards killed. And wow, Dylan's going to light up this Mutavault, and that one, be surprised that one lives here.
Yeah, that's actually a huge surprise for me, opting for the Mutavault over Scab Clan, especially when that really makes Torbran kind of, I don't want to say unobtainable, but it just puts that 4-drop so far away.
Yeah, and there is a Choke Dash Array revealing an island again. There's Legion's End hanging out. There's Fatal Push. There's tons of stuff going on. There's Legion's End. And Dylan's going to reveal a hand of double Torban. Wow, double Torban Mountain Scab Clan Berserker. That is not the best hand when Cody's at 15 here.
Yeah, and especially, Cody does have access to Inverter next turn. I think it's actually a bit of an interesting position. One of the hardest parts about playing Inverter is knowing when to stop casting spells so you can combo a turn faster. And, if you have Thassa's Oracle and 3 cards, you can combo the turn after you play Inverter, and that Legion's End actually throws that math off a little bit there.
Yeah, he's got, that looks like, there's a Scab Clan. It's going to come rumbling in here. Yeah, Cody's got, he's got 2 inverters in hand, even if he wants to, start trying to race.
Yeah, I do kind of love the games where you play Inverter, attack, removal spell, Inverter again. Your deck's just all gas.
Yeah, man. So there's Inverter we mentioned there, and he's got, I think, 4 cards? 4 cards.
It should be 4 cards, yeah.
All right, so Inverter of Truth you see for 4 mana. The powerful Mythic from Oath of the Gatewatch is the 6/6 flying Devoid. All right. When it enters the battlefield, exile all cards from your library face down, and shuffle all cards from your graveyard to library. So we know Cody's entire deck here has the C.
Yep, and Cody did hit the card from his deck that he needed. Opt actually lets him go down to 2 cards here. Scab Clan's going to ping him a little bit casting it, but that should size the library up to exactly the right amount for this Thassa's Oracle.
And that's the game. Wow, man. Jeez. So Cody with a turn 5 win both games. Faster than the mono red deck.
Yeah, it's wild, right? The blue-black control deck, Goldfish is faster than red. Yeah, and I think that's kind of exactly why these games can be really tough for the red aggro player. And, to be fair to Dylan, those are some pretty top-end draws he had to face down. But still, it can kind of showcase exactly how good Inverter is when everything's clicking. Yeah,
so Cody Murray going to pick up the W here today with the Inverter deck. I'm not really surprised that Inverter won. I thought it was probably, Joe and I mentioned at the top of the broadcast that it's basically a 2-deck format. That plus the Lotus Breach deck. Those are, Public Enemy number 1 and 1A, if you will. And no surprise to see Inverter pick up the W here. And, I thought maybe the mono red deck would get under it. I watched this Inverter deck just steamroll these mono red decks all weekend, though.
Yeah, it's one of those where we kind of knew what to expect from this tournament, but I was still pleasantly surprised by just the variety kind of underneath the very top layer of the surface. And, yeah, we saw it in our top 8, Simic Ramp. A couple different aggro variants, the Boros deck. I think Pioneer's sweet, and I do think that while the top decks are very good, there is appropriate adaptability below that, and I think it's going to keep the format fresh and hopefully ban-free until at least Decoria drops.
Yeah. All right, so I think we're going to try – it sounds like we're going to try and get a winner's interview. Yep, it looks like we're going to get a winner's interview. So tomorrow, if you're hanging out, if you're in the area, if you're in the Indianapolis area or the greater surrounding area, we are playing some Modern. Again, another one of these trials. So $5,000 on the line if you are interested in jamming some, I don't even know what people are going to play tomorrow.
I assume the new Primeval Titan decks with the Dryads seem excellent. I've also heard some rumblings about Dredge, escaping Ox on turn 2. So, yeah, it seems like Modern is kind of supercharged right now. I know that some of the people that I rode up with have Trusty Jun sleeved up. I'm expecting them to be done by round 3. But, hey, I think you can still play it. And I don't know. I'm interested to get back from Modern because, personally, I've kind of been away for a while. So it seems like the format has changed quite a bit. And, I think it's interesting. These powerful cards are – they're just completely reshaping the landscape. Sure.
All right, well, we're going to kick Wyatt out of the booth here in a second after we talk about our $10,000 weekend. We have another trial coming up, and, so we have March 21st and 22nd. We have Team Constructed and Pioneer, so $5,000 on the line each day if you got a couple friends. Pioneer, Modern, and Legacy is our Saturday Team Constructed event, followed by a Sunday Pioneer trial. And then, the following month, we got April 4th and 5th is going to be that Modern Showdown. It's going to be Modern/Modern. So if you're looking for decks to bring to that, possibly you can tune in tomorrow, swing by, get some games in, and we're going to kick Wyatt out of the booth here for a second, and I'm going to get Cody Murray in here for a winner's interview. We'll be back in just a second.